Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam class and attentive japa this morning. Nice to have your association, everyone. We've got Harini Mataji, Muni Mataji, Jai Prabhu, and Mother Shamsundar Prabhuji, Praveen Mataji, Venkat Prabhu, Vijay. Okay, Sarveshi Mataji should be on our way. So we'll make a start anyway. Is Mataji there? Okay. Yeah, she's here. Thank you. Welcome, Sarveshi Mataji. And we'll make a start so we can start on time and finish on time. So today we are talking about Maharaj Ambarish, who was offended by Durvasa Muni. So we'll do a quick prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Haribol. So we're talking about Maharaj Ambarish, and he was a lineage. He was from the lineage of Vyavasvata Manu and Ikshvaku, Maharaj Ikshvaku. So Maharaj Ambarish, he was a very powerful and celebrated devotee and a king as well. He was the emperor of the entire world. But because he was a very celebrated devotee, is a very pure devotee, he considered his opulence temporary. He was not attached to his opulence. Indeed, knowing that such material opulence is the cause of downfall into conditioned life. So he's very enlightened. He was attached, he wasn't unattached to this opulence. He engaged his senses and mind in the service of the Lord. And this process is called Yukta Viragya, or feasible renunciation, which is quite suitable for worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is what we try to aim for as well, Yukta Viragya. And because Maharaj Ambarish, as the emperor, was immensely opulent, he performed devotional service with great opulence. And therefore, despite his wealth, he had no attachment to his wife, children, or kingdom. Although he took full responsibility for them, but he was not overly attached to them. He constantly engaged his senses and mind in the service of the Lord. They would say nothing about enjoying material opulence. He never desired even liberation. He just wanted to serve the Lord with all his senses. So Maharaj Ambarish always engaged his mind in meditating upon the lotus feet of Krishna, his words in describing the glories of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the Lord's temple, his ears in hearing the words spoken by Krishna or about Krishna. He engaged his senses in seeing the deity of Krishna, Krishna's temples, and Krishna's places like Mathura and Vrindavan. He engaged in sense of touch in touching the bodies of the Lord's devotees. He engaged his sense of smell in smelling the fragrance of tulsi offered to the Lord, and he engaged his tongue in tasting the Lord's prasad. This is how you engage all your senses for the pleasure of the Lord. And he engaged his legs in walking to the holy places and temples of the Lord, his head in bowing down before the Lord, and all his desires in serving the Lord 24 hours a day. Indeed, Maharaj Ambarish never desired anything for his own sense gratification. He engaged all his senses in devotional service in various engagements related to the Lord. This is the way to increase attachment for the Lord and completely free from all material desires. So, it's a lesson for us to learn. Somebody wants to know, how do we always think of Krishna? How do we engage our senses? And this Maharaj Ambarish is giving us an example. Now, in performing his prescribed duties as a king, so he was, still, it's not that he wasn't taking responsibility for his family and his kingdom. He was doing all those jobs as well as duty. Maharaj Ambarish always offered the results of his royal activities to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who is the enjoyer of everything and is beyond the perception of material senses. He certainly took advice from Brahmins, who were faithful devotees of the Lord, and thus he ruled the planet Earth without difficulty. So last week we were talking about King Riga. There was slight difference, wasn't there? He wasn't exactly a devotee, and the people he associated with, his Brahmins, they weren't devotees of the Lord. He was getting wrong advice, and that's why Krishna didn't help him at the time when he really needed it, because he wasn't a pure devotee. So I mean, Krishna always helps, but not. He didn't make a special effort to help him. He wanted to purify him. Last week that was the case. So, being very pleased by the unalloyed devotion of Maharaj Ambrish, the Supreme Personality of Godhead gave the king his disc. So, Sudarshan Chakra was given to him. Obviously, Krishna knew what was to come, so he helped him with that, which is fearful to enemies and which always protects the devotees from enemies and adversities. A devotee is always merged in the ocean of transcendental bliss of rendering service to the Lord. Therefore, he's not at all afraid of any adverse situation because you know that Krishna will protect you. The Lord always promises, Kunte prati janihi name bhakta panashyati. O Arjun, you may declare to the world that the devotees of the Lord are never vanquished. So, as long as you're a devotee, you don't need to fear anything. For the protection of the devotees, Krishna's disc, the Sudarshan Chakra, is always ready. This disc is extremely faithful to the non-devotees. Pratyanika Bhaya Vaham. Therefore, although Maharaj Ambrish was fully engaged in devotional service, his kingdom was free of all fear of adversity. So, to worship Lord Krishna, Maharaj Ambrish, along with his queen, was equally qualified, observed the vow of Ekadashi and Devadashi for 1 year. To observe Ekadashi Vrat and Devadashi Vrat means to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those interested in advancing in Krishna consciousness must observe Ekadashi Vrat regularly, which we try to do. And Maharaj Ambrish's queen was equally as qualified as the king in doing so. Therefore, it was possible for Maharaj Ambrish to engage his life in household affairs. In this regard, the word Tulya Shilya is very significant, uh, mentioned by Prabhupada, that unless a wife is equally as qualified as her husband, household affairs are very difficult to continue. Chanakya Pandit advises that a person in such a situation should immediately give up household life and become a vanaprasth or sannyasi. A person who has no mother at home and whose wife is not agreeable with him should immediately go away to the forest. Well, we don't do that nowadays, but that was the recommendation at the time. So, because human life is meant for spiritual advancement only, one's wife must be helpful in this endeavor, which still applies, and otherwise there is no need of household life. So, this story, this pastime is like once Maharaj Ambrish was worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Vrindavan, observing the vow of Devadashi. On Devadashi, the day after Ekadashi, when he was about to break his fast in that time window that we have, time frame, the great mystic yogi Durvasa Muni appeared in his house and became his guest. So he wasn't really invited, it was a surprise visit. And King Ambrish respectfully received Durvasa Muni anyhow. And Durvasa Muni, after accepting his invitation to eat there, went to bathe in the Yamuna river at noontime. So Durvasa Muni gladly accepted the request of Maharaj Ambrish, but to perform the regulative ritualistic ceremonies, he went to the river Yamuna. There he dipped into the water of the auspicious Yamuna and meditated upon the impersonal Brahman. So, he was not a devotee of Krishna. He was worshipping the impersonal Brahman. He was a yogi. And in the meantime, only a Murat or Devadashi day was left on which to break the fast. Consequently, it was imperative that the fast be broken immediately. In this dangerous situation, the king consulted learned Brahmins because he's worried that the time frame will lapse and then he won't have observed his Ekadashi properly. The king said, to transgress the laws of respectful behavior towards the Brahmins is certainly a great offense. On the other hand, if one doesn't observe the breaking of the fast within the time of the Vadashi, there's a flow in one's observance of the vow. And to be honest, a lot of people don't know this. They observe Ekadashi in India, but they don't know that you have to break it in a time frame. So that's interesting. So therefore, O Brahman, if you think that you will be auspicious and not irreligious, I shall break the fast by drinking water. In this way, after consulting with the Brahmins, the king reached this decision, for according to Brahmanical opinion, drinking water may be accepted as eating and also not eating. So now we might think that we drink water on Ekadashi, so are we breaking the fast? Well, I mean, we are given this liberty by Srila Prabhupada. In actual Ekadashi fasting, you're not supposed to drink even water, but we just refrain from grain, and that is especially for the European countries. We are giving a lot of liberties. The rules are a little bit relaxed for us by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, so we drink water and we eat non grain food or fruits. So after executing the ritualistic ceremonies to be performed at noon, Durvasa Muni returned from the bank of the Yamuna. The king received him well, offering all respects, but Durvasa Muni, by his mystic power, because his mystic yogi, could understand that King Ambarish had drunk water without his permission. So, still hungry, Durvasa Muni, body trembling, his face curved, and his eyebrows crooked in a frown, angrily spoke as follows to King Ambarish, who stood before him with folded hands. Maharaj Ambarish, you have invited me to eat as a guest, but instead of feeding me, you yourself have eaten first. Because of your misbehavior, I shall show you something to punish you. As Durvasa Muni said this, his face became red with anger. Uprooting a bunch of hair from his head, he created a demon resembling the blazing fire of devastation to punish Maharaj Ambarish. Taking a trident in his hand and making the surface of the earth tremble with his footsteps, that blazing creature came before Maharaj Ambarish. But the king, upon seeing him, so the big fierce creatures appeared, and but the king, upon seeing him, was not all disturbed and did not move even slightly from his position. As fire in the forest immediately burns to ashes any angry snake, so by the previous order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is this: the Subdakshin Chakra immediately burnt to ashes the created demon to protect the Lord's devotee. So this fierce creature created by the Vasamani went to attack Maharaj Ambarish, but the chakra came into action straight away and destroyed the demon. So upon seeing that his own attempt had failed and that now the seduction chakra was actually moving towards him, the Vasamani became very frightened and began to run in all directions to save his life. As the blazing flames of forest fire pursued a snake, the disk of the Supreme Personality of Godhead began following Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni saw that the disk was almost touching his back, and thus he ran very swiftly, desiring to enter a cave of Sumaru mountain. Just to protect himself, Durvasa Muni fled everywhere, in all directions, in the sky, on the surface of the earth, in caves, in the ocean, on different planets of the rulers of the three worlds, and even on the heavenly planets. But wherever he went, he immediately saw following him the unbearable fire of the Sudakshin Chakra. So he's a mystic yogi, he could travel anywhere, but so could the Sudakshin Chakra. It chased him, everywhere. With a fearful heart, Durvasa Muni went here and there seeking shelter, but when he could find no shelter, he finally approached Lord Brahma and said, O my Lord, O Lord Brahma, kindly protect me from the blazing Sudakshin Chakra sent by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Well, it is said that Mitu Sarva Harish Chaham, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead approaches as death, in this case as the chakra, or the supreme control of time, he takes everything away. In other words, all opulence, prestige, and everything we possess is given by the Supreme Lord for some purpose. It is the duty of the surrendered soul to execute the orders of the Supreme. No one can disregard him. Under the circumstances, Lord Brahma refused to give shelter to Durvasa Muni from the powerful Sudakshin Chakra sent by Lord. So when Durvasa Muni, who was greatly afflicted by the blazing fire of the Sudakshin Chakra, was refused by Lord Brahma, he tried to take shelter of Lord Shiva, who always resides on his planet known as Kailash. Lord Shiva said, "You simply approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead to get relief for this Sudarshan Chakra is intolerable even to us. Go to Lord Vishnu. He will certainly be kind enough to bestow all good fortune upon you." So Durvasa Muni, the great mystic, scorched by the heat of the Sudarshan Chakra, fell at the lotus feet of Narayan, his body trembling. He spoke as follows: "O infallible, unlimited Lord, protector of the entire universe, you are the only desirable objective for all devotees. I am a great offender, my Lord. Please give me protection, O my Lord. O Supreme Controller, without knowledge of your unlimited prowess, I have offended your most dear devotee. You very kindly save me from the reaction of this offense. You can do everything for even if a person is fit for going to hell, you can deliver him simply by awakening within his heart the holy name of your lordship." So he suddenly comes to his senses and now actually becomes a devotee of the Lord uh, directly now, instead of impersonal Brahma. Now he has realized his mistake, and that well, first of all, I should be a devotee of the Lord and also should not offend the Lord's dear devotees. So, because the Lord directly handles people who attack his devotees verbally or physically. So the Supreme Personality of God has said to the Brahman, "I am completely under the control of my devotees." So Lord Narayan said to Durvasa Muni, "I am completely under the control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not at all independent because my devotees are completely devoid of all material desires." So that's the sign of a devotee or pure devotee, that they are devoid of all material desires. "I sit only within the cause of their hearts. What to speak of to speak of my devotee? Excuse me. Even those who are devotees of my devotee are very dear to me. O best of the Brahmins, without saintly persons for whom I am the only destination, I don't desire to enjoy my transcendental bliss and my supreme opulences." So God is God with the devotees. Must have somebody to serve, and then God is more godly, so to speak. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is self-sufficient, but to enjoy his transcendental bliss, he requires the cooperation of his devotees. And in Vrindavan, for example, although Lord Krishna is full in himself, he wants the cooperation of his devotees like the cowherd boys and the gopis to increase his transcendental bliss. Such pure devotees who can increase the pleasure potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are certainly most dear to him. Not only does the Supreme Personality of Godhead enjoy the company of his devotees, but because he is unlimited, he wants to increase his devotees unlimitedly. And this is why God wants us to get out of this material world and go back home, because he wants unlimited devotees. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipped by the words of Brahmana Divayago Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Thus he is the well-wisher of the Brahmins. The Durvasa Muni was certainly a very good Brahman, but because he was a non-devotee, he could not sacrifice everything in devotional service. Great mystic yogis are actually self-interested. The proof is that when Durvasa Muni created a demon like to kill Maharaj Ambarish, the king stayed fixed in his place, praying to the Supreme Personality Godhead and depending solely on the Supreme Personality Godhead. Whereas when Durvasa Muni was chased by the Sudarshan Chakra by the Supreme will of the Lord, he was so perturbed that he fled all over the world and tried to take shelter in every nook and corner of the universe. At last, in fear of his life, he approached Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was so interested in his own body that he wanted to kill the body of a Vaishnav. Therefore, he didn't have very good intelligence, and how can an intelligent person be delivered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead? The Lord certainly tries to give all protection to his devotees who have given up everything for the sake of serving him. So, O Brahman, let me now advise you for your own protection. So, Lord Narayan is advising Durvasa Muni, please hear from me. By offending Maharaj Ambarish, you have acted with self-envy. Therefore, you should go to him immediately without a moment's delay. One so-called prowess, when employed against the devotee, certainly harms him, he who employs it. Thus, it is the subject, not the object, who is harmed. So we have to be careful where we use our powers. O best of the Brahmins, you should therefore go immediately to King Ambrish, the son of Maharaj Nabhag. I wish you all good fortune. If you can satisfy Maharaj Ambrish, then there will be peace for you. So that was the case with the Durvasa Muni, and obviously he had to pay the price for getting angry with a pure devotee. So I hope that was helpful, and be nice to do a little discussion on this and just see what we will learn from this katha. It is the Purushottam month, and so glad that you have all joined. Sri Jagannath Prabhu uh, and Achyuta Prabhu as well, and we have some guests from India joining today as well. So it's really good. Sureshi Mataji, what do you think? What is a lesson or what's a realization for us from this?
Uh,
Hare
Hare
Krishna. Devi.
Krishna. Well, Durvasa Rishi is a portion of Lord Shiva.
Right,
And
okay.
I get my echo. I don't know
That's okay, Mataji. Can
why
hear
you
you.
don't see. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Devi.
Well, the Durvasa Rishi, I get my echo. I don't know why.
Not sure. Yeah.
It's okay. He's a portion of Lord Shiva, and that's why he's very pleased very easily, and he get into temper very easily. And he's always meditate on impersonal Brahm.
Mm-hmm.
And Durvasa Rishi, he was a Brahmana, and Maharaj Ambrish was Kshatriya. So Durvasa Rishi thought that the Brahmanas are higher than the Kshatriyas. And he regarded Ambrish Maharaj as an ordinary person.
Absolutely, yes.
And but Vaishnavas, they are higher than the Brahmanas, well, which he didn't know. And Maharaj Ambrish was most exalted devotee of Lord Krishna. He was not only devotee of Krishna, but he was the devotees of the devotees of Lord Krishna.
Yes.
And he was humble, and he had good qualities. And he made his families and his subjects all devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was detached from all material desires, though he was a king. He used all his senses to satisfy Supreme Personality of Godhead. He never feared conditioned life because he knew he was always protected by Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Lord Krishna is under the control of his devotees. So he's always trying to please his devotees. So that it shows us that we must surrender to Krishna, just like Krishna says, Sab Dharman Prateje. And so Maharaj Amrishas was very surrendered devotee of Lord Krishna. And if you surrender to Krishna, then Krishna will help you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Mataji, very beautifully explained. Thank you so much. You are absolutely right. And for us as well, we want to be the devotee of the devotee of the devotee, the servant of the servant of the servant. And Krishna, he always protects his devotees of the devotee of the devotee. So in this yuga, we want the lower you are in spirituality, the more humble you feel, the higher you are. So thank you so much, Mataji, for that. Uh, Prem Prakash Prabhu, any realizations? I think maybe he's traveling at the moment. Um, let's see. Achyuta Prabhu, are you there? Okay. We'll go to Actually, Harini Mataji search. Oh, Partha Prabhu is there. Partha Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Lovely class, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, the one of the realization is never harass the sincere devotees. Um, if you try to harass the devotee, then obviously Krishna will protect you. And the other one is like when you do a fasting, make sure that you break the fasting in the time frame, within the time frame. That is one of the important thing. And always take the advice from the Brahmins. Normally, whenever we are in trouble, we try to run to the people whom you like or whom you know, but always try to take the advices from the Brahmins, because they are the perfect people to give a proper advice on time.
Mhm.
And normally we see that we don't have enough time in a day to do our devotional service, but if you have a control on your material desires, then you'll have an ample amount of time to do your devotional service.
Sure, sure.
And
Yeah.
one of the good thing about normally during the fasting, we always try to see that okay, tomorrow fasting, it's a fasting day, so whatever is prepared in the home now, just finish it. But actually Ambrish Maharaj says that like he actually start the fasting from the evening of the previous day, and then he take only fruits and milk on the previous day. He starts fasting on the previous day, and he do fasting on the whole day of the Ekadashi, and he break fast on the next day in the given time frame.
Sure, sure.
So we have to prepare very well for doing that fasting very nicely.
Yeah, sure.
That's all right.
Thank you.
Thank
Well, we have our Nitai Chan Prabhu. He does Nirjala Ekadashi. That was the right, that was the right way of doing, and Prabhuji is following the method, the old method, without any relaxing on the rules. Isn't it, Prabhu? Hare Krishna. Welcome back, Prabhu. I can't hear you, Prabhu. Jai.
Is it okay?
Yes, Prabhu can hear you now. So we were talking about Ekadashi. Amrish,
Yeah, I just heard.
he was he was observing Ekadashi with no water and no grains thing. So we are watching the altar as well, Prabhu, at the same time as we are discussing. And so we're saying that our Prabhuji, Tanshan Prabhu observes without water. No water on
Yeah,
Ekadashi.
yeah, Nirjala. I do Nirjala.
Bilkul Nirjala Ekadashi. And
Okay, yeah.
I mean, the rule is that you stop at day before Ekadashi, stop eating, only have meal in the afternoon and no meal in the night. So your stomach is empty. Next day from grain, and then you observe all the way through, and then you break the fast in the window frame on Dvadashi. And you see, also mentioned that sometimes you only give milk on Dvadashi as well. Somewhere it's written that only drink milk on a Dvadashi. So it's like a 3-day continuous fast.
Yeah, yeah, Ambarish Maharaj was very strict. Yeah,
Very strict, and he did this for a whole year. And,
yeah,
and the kings used to do this for their kingdom as well, to get prosperity for their, not for themselves, but for the citizens. They used to do
for
all
the
this.
citizen. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. You are right.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Nice seeing you.
Okay. Thank you. Nice to see you, all of you. Yeah, because I said I have to attend this class today.
Yeah,
I tried earlier, not started. Then you send a message, so I said, okay, I have to join.
yeah, please keep joining. 8 o'clock, we are here.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Babu. Okay.
Very good, very good. Achita Prabhu, are you there now?
Eh?
So I'll ask you
I'm
for Achita Prabhu. Who's there?
okay.
Thank you. Rukmani Mataji, are you there?
I'm here.
Nandi Mataji, would you like to add something? Or
I don't want to add anything, but it is very lovely, Amrish Raja and Durvasa Muni. We have to learn so much from them. And like Amrish Raja, He was a really bhakt of Shri Krishna Bhagavan and very humble. So we learn that by being a devotee of Krishna, we should be very humble and not to degrade anybody. Even if even any soul is a very small devotee, we should respect to everybody. Not like Durvasa Muni, and he is being such a big devotee, and still he is showing anger and he become proud that I am the super devotee. So that is we have to learn from that we should be very humble in this case.
Absolutely.
If we are devotee, then we first of all we have to become devotee and humble devotee, and we should respect even a smallest devotee. We have to respect him.
Sure.
That's all, Prabhuji.
So, Mataji, this Yukta Viragya, what do you think about the Yukta Viragya? I mean, he was the king of the world, but yet he was a Yukta Viragya. Because he was like, he wasn't attached to his family or his opulence in any way. So, how do we go about achieving that position? Because to become a pure devotee, we have to work for that. We have to work on our attachments, isn't it? Are you there, Mataji?
Are you asking me, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, I'm saying that how do we, because he was completely unattached to his opulences and his family, and to become a pure devotee, this is what we strive for, to become unattached, because otherwise Krishna, he starts making arrangements for us to become if we want to become a pure devotee, then he starts making arrangements to become unattached to our to our material opulence or other things, so we can advance in our spiritual life. And Yukta Vragya means that we are temperate, we are moderate with our eating, sleeping, social life, and work. We do it in limits. So eating, sleeping, mating, defending, all these things, they all have to be controlled. That's how you become Yukta Viragya. Yukta means regulated renunciation, because this is what Krishna said to Arjun in Bhagavad-Gita, that you have to renounce an ethos, you have to go to the forest. He says, no, not going to forest. You renounce mentally, renounce everything mentally, the enjoyment of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, you are socializing, that you renounce that, not the actual physical task. You have to do your kartavya, you have to do your duty, so you can't renounce that. So this is what we need to work. We learn from Maharaj Ambrish that it is possible to do it. That's the thing. We are ordinary people. He was the king of the world. If he can do it, he can renounce his family and his kingdom mentally. Then we shouldn't have any problems either. That's the lesson we learn from these great exalted devotees, isn't it?
Yes, Prabhuji. There is a one proverb that if man changa to kathrot mein ganga.
Okay.
So it is, everything is possible, Prabhuji. For even a very smallest soul, if he is very dear devotee of Krishna, Vishnu.
Yes.
So
Yes.
then Krishna looks at us because our purest bhakti. So that works, first of all. So that means we have to be very humble and very ignorant, very devotee. So much bhakti we need. Then Krishna and Vishnu help us, surely.
So what do we have to do to get that? What should we do?
So we have to follow all the rules of bhakti. We have to be attached with the Gita ji, Bhagavatam. We have to read all these scriptures, and we have to be very regular in bhakti. And Krishna will help us.
Yes. I mean, we can reach a certain point, but after that, we need the mercy of the Lord to take us beyond that point. With our with the senses, mind, intelligence, and the soul, we can achieve so much. But after that, we need the mercy of Lord Krishna to take us beyond that level. And if he sees our sincerity and our enthusiasm, he does help us to go over that threshold, isn't it?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Jai Prabhu, are you there, sir?
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I mean, the king had a dilemma, whether to break his fast on time or not disrespect the devotee. So he came up with a solution that he could satisfy both. I think the key, the major point from this is that the Lord will protect his greatest devotees and will not tolerate any harassment of them. So I think Durvasa Muni learned not to offend pure devotees of the Lord. A few other learning points from this. It highlights the importance of the Ekadashi fast, to please Krishna. About treating guests with respect, and I think we should try to satisfy the senses of Krishna rather than our own senses. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yes, that's fine, Prabhu. Thank you so much for that. So lots of wonderful lessons. It's amazing from like a 20-minute class. There is so much to learn from, and there's like hundreds of devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam. Then they're teaching us so many lessons. There's so many lessons to learn, and this is the stories we're doing every week that we can learn the lessons from them and follow their example, following their footsteps. So excellent. So thank you so much. I think unless does anybody else like to add anything? Okay, so now we're gonna, well, before I mention what we're gonna do now, so next Friday we're gonna talk about Lord Parshuram, the Lord's warrior incarnation. Parshuram, very interesting pastime there. So we will discuss that next week. This Sunday we got His Holiness Bhakti Dhira Damodar Swami, and the class is on God inspires everyone from within. So please look out for that as well. And this Sunday we're starting half an hour early because Maharaj has another class he's giving to the Indian congregation, so he wants to finish half an hour earlier. So we decided we'll start half an hour before, and so we'll start program at 10 o'clock. Kirtan's half 10 class. So thank you. Swashi Mataji, would you like to start one round, please, and then Rukmini Mataji do the second one? Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vicharini Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschata Desatharini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaura Bhakta Binda